going on, everybody? Back with a slightly unannounced show. We're just squeezing them in when we can these days. So, yeah, going to do a 30-minute chat today. We're going to cover 3 topics. They kind of all go together. But recently, just passed my L3 for the second time. Dani's had her L3 for almost 10 years, kept it with her CEUs. We're going to talk about maybe some other courses that we've taken over the years that we found value in. We'll leave it at that. And then last quick topic will be the best way to gain coaching experience. And that can be whether you're running a gym, you're trying to get your coaches more experience, or you're a newer coach and you're trying to speed up the process of feeling confident and comfortable. So we'll go over that. 30 minutes or less. Dani, you want to lead us off? What's up, Kenneth?
First of all, I don't know why I'm glowing, but
got some light behind you.
I'm trying to spin. Well, it's like worse. What are we talking about? Okay, I don't know where to put myself. It's getting worse.
Okay, you're good. You're good. But you're fine. You look fine.
That's not me. It's just like this.
Everyone's here to listen to you. Not, yeah.
All right. So here's how I'll start. I posted a poll on our Instagram story about after your level 3, and I don't remember exactly what it said. Something about, do level 3s get an automatic pay raise or something like that? We got all sorts of messages of kind of both sides, which I thought was actually very interesting. I'm very...
Ooh, tell me.
Yeah, I'm very one-sided that like your level 3 doesn't mean shit to me. Like I don't care if you have your level 3. I don't care. I think that your ability to like study and take a test makes no reflection on your ability to coach a good CrossFit class. And like, you're a pretty good coach and you've been like a level 1 for the last 10 years because you've let like, it means nothing. It means nothing to me. And I think I know a lot of people who are level 3s and are just not great coaches or just can't deliver the product correctly. So I don't know, but we got a lot of messages of people being like, absolutely. It shows that they like are like dedicated. And I'm like, yeah, but like some people are just like, can't take a test. And that doesn't mean that they shouldn't. I don't know. There's got to be there's better ways.
Sure, but the people who can't take a test, yeah, I understand some people just don't do well in that setting. But the people who take the test well and show that they understand the material are more dedicated than some of those who can't pass because they don't know the material, right? So is the dedication worth anything to you?
No.
Not at all.
It means literally nothing to me.
What's the most valuable thing that if you were going to give a coach a raise, and be careful because our coaches may be listening to this. Like if you were going to give a coach a raise, what kind of things would you want to see that would be most valuable to you in your gyms?
Well, first off, obviously following like protocol. So if we're asking you to do something, you're doing it every time, whether that's
a good one.
Signing people in. We have that kind of issue at most of our gyms. And, you know, some of it's on the members who don't, you know, register for their classes. But like if you're a coach and like the business side kind of relies on, you know, athletes getting checked in. For example, you know, people who have like a 2 times a week membership, they should be like, or not just them, but everybody should be getting signed into class, in my opinion. So it's like, if you're not able to just follow like, again, like the simple protocols that we need, then that is like number 1. The second, I think, is always just like member engagement. Like if members are stoked on you and like people are coming up to the owners or coming up to us and being like, oh, this coach, like I had such a great class with them. They're so fun. I love when they're coaching. Like that means way more to me than a level 1, 2, 3, 4 means nothing. Like those mean nothing. Like, again, it's obviously nice to know that they, you know their stuff, but like also to have your level 3, like, I don't know, what did you just pay? Like $500 plus you had to pay an application fee. Is that right?
Something like that.
Like maybe somebody doesn't want to spend that money and like, I don't blame them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I did it to save the airfare of flying somewhere to retake my level 2, which was expiring. So it was a discount for us. But
yeah, but you also have to have your level 2 because you hold affiliations in your name. Like other coaches might like, I don't know. And also it's like changed where it used to be you had to have your level 1 to coach CrossFit. Now you don't, that's not the rule anymore. So it doesn't even matter. You don't need to be certified. So if somebody doesn't have any certifications and they are just like drinking the CrossFit Kool-Aid and they're an awesome person, like they just deserve $8 an hour because they didn't get their level 1, but they're the best coach in your gym. Nah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. There should be multiple factors in terms of grading a coach's pay or compensation. Ernie agrees with you. He says the level 3 shows commitment, but even committed people can suck. And I think, yeah, they certainly can. But I also think the committed people, again, I know lots of people in my life, even outside fitness, that are very, very intelligent, book smart, but they could not hold a conversation. They could not get you excited. They could not entertain you or deliver knowledge to you that they possess in any sort of setting. So having them just be smart enough to take a test and pass, they would be the worst coach ever and probably couldn't speak in public to save their life. So like, I know plenty of people like that. So you definitely have to have a balance. Augustus says, I was coaching on Wednesday morning and helped a guy figure out their kipping toes to bar. And he said, I made his entire day. And yeah, I think that's the sort of interactions that Danny's talking about when a coach, whether it's in class or even outside of class.
It doesn't matter if he did or not, right? Like, so you just gave somebody an awesome day. I don't care if you have your level 1 or whatever. But you brought up the other day, which I thought was interesting, about the level 4, which people had asked me a bunch of times, like if I was going to get my level 4. And I was just like, no, like it doesn't do anything for us, right? At all. Like it doesn't help us at all. And now the only reason that, like, I got a level 3, almost 10 years ago, when it was like nobody had it. And it was like this super cool, like, thing to have your level 3. So I was like stoked at the time. Now I like it because I hate going to those weekend courses, like I think it ruins my entire weekend. I hate it. So for me to be able to just like bang out an online course in 2 weeks and get my CEUs and then not have to think about it for 3 years, like that's just what's better for me. Like when I tell you, I hate those courses.
I think people come to the show just for your salty perspective on everything these days.
It's just true. I used to dread those courses.
Because
short story. Let me tell you what turned me on. I'll tell you what turned me on. I got CrossFit Kids like 100 years ago. So boring, number 1. Number 2, it was the weekend of a Patriots playoff game. So I was like already like irritated. So I'm like trying to watch on my phone. You're in this gym with no service. There was a restaurant bar in the parking lot of the gym because this gym was like in a strip mall. It was like somewhere in like Southern Mass somewhere. And the gym was in a strip mall. And there's like some restaurant and bar in the parking lot. So like, where do you think I spent most of my CrossFit Kids seminar? At the bar.
The same place you spent Wadapalooza multiple years in a row when you're supposed to be competing in a hotel bar watching the game instead of doing your event.
I did.
Yeah, we know where you're.
No, I'm not a Patriots fan, Augustus. I'm not a Patriots fan. I am a Tom Brady fan. Very different.
Yeah. Okay. I lost my. Okay. So backtracking a little bit. So you hate the weekend long seminars. That's fine. You can feel that way. You've taken all of them, by the way. And so you've been through all of them. So you are speaking from experience, just the way you feel about it. However, I feel like the level 1 might be the most groundbreaking, amazing weekend informative fitness thing ever in the world. So I don't want to go take it every weekend. I don't want to go do it over and over again. But okay. So we're on the same page. So, but I encourage everybody, members, coaches, whoever that would want to take the L1. That's just like lifetime information you can apply to yourself and better yourself anytime, even if you're not coaching anybody. So like L1 is the GOAT. It's awesome. It's worthwhile. I understand where you're at. You have all this knowledge, all this experience. You don't want to go keep taking them over and over again. Totally get that.
I think I always recommend and suggest people to go get their level 1 though. I think, and when I took it, it was an awesome weekend. But then as like time ticks on and it's like, okay, kettlebell seminar, okay, aerobic capacity seminar, okay, I can't even remember all the ones. The USAW, like I did all these and I'm just like, I don't know.
Some of them aren't good. That's the thing. Like some of them, they just like, I think they did a great job of the L1. The L2, I'm not the biggest fan of the L2. It makes sense in terms of teaching a coach or a gym owner how to structurally like do their classes in their affiliate, but that's not maybe the way I want to coach my classes. So the L2 is very structured in like CrossFit style of how to do classes, but it doesn't have really that much to do with the CrossFit methodology. It's more of like a logistics thing for a coach and an owner. And personally, I've taken a few things from it, but my style of coaching doesn't always or even usually line up with the structure that they would teach you to coach in the L2, which is fine.
The thing that's interesting about that though is like, again, you and I have both, well, we own a lot of gyms and we've also just been in and out of a billion other gyms. It's like the way that they are teaching you to coach at the level 2 is not how the absolute overwhelming majority of CrossFit gyms are operating, except Reebok One. They don't even exist anymore. But like, that's the only gym that you go into and like, they're like, okay, we're doing 3x3 power clean today. okay. Like,
and line up, everyone line up with your empty bar and like drilling the same drills over and over again and the same. And again, like even in the when you take the test for the L3, you need to know the structure of how they expect you to coach classes and how they expect you to organize things and how they expect you to see and correct and all that stuff. But what the beauty of CrossFit is, you don't have to follow it like that. We have a style that we like to use in class that just doesn't. It's just not in line with that the same way. I still make the same corrections. I still try to help people out. I still whatever, but the organization is just different in how we run our classes. And there's no right or wrong, but in that sense, I think the L2 is much, much less valuable than the L1. Yeah.
At the level 2 that I did, I did do it at Reebok in Canton, and it was crazy because we did like the breakout groups or whatever. And I specifically remember I was like coaching the air squat, and there was this dude who had like the most perfect air squat. Like it was a perfect air squat. And then you're like, oh, that's like a good air squat. And they're like, make it better. And I was like, why? Like this other person's like, can't even like do anything, but you want me to make this perfect air squat better? And they just kept being like, it can always be better. It can always be better. And then you're force cueing them, and they're like, so it's like, okay, like drive your knees out more. And now it looks like a bad squat because you're over cueing a perfect squat. And that was like my takeaway of the level 2. And I was just like, that's just silly. So you're going to tell me that you can't, move on from somebody who actually is moving really well?
So that sounds like a staff member tried to like kind of big dick a little bit and be like, let's go. Like you can do better. So because that's not really a, so I get the sentiment, but
that was my only thing.
Sucks.
I don't remember one other thing from my level 2 besides that. And I was just like, this is so lame. Like, yeah.
I've taken away a few good points. Like everybody who knows me has been in one of my classes. I can be an over explainer, over talker, all that stuff. I just get so into it. I can't shut the fuck up. And so, I do practice trying to be more like concise with my cues and hit something, correct it, move on. So I do get a nice reminder from the L2 of that sort of thing, but I don't need a whole weekend seminar for someone to keep reminding me, hey, shut up, and just like give them a quick fix and move. But that's it. A few more people in the chat. What's up, Jeff? James liked the USAW level 1. He said it helped him simplify.
Okay, so I did that a very, very, very long time ago. And I don't know if my instructor was just lame or whatever, but like I was just like glad that weekend was over, but it's fine.
Yeah. I've never done that one. Augustus says everyone basically does lift and a Metcon now most days. I'd say if I were to guess just from my popping in different gyms, it's probably like 60%, maybe a little more of gyms definitely have most days as a lift Metcon mix. I would guess from my experience. You think it's more than 60%?
I do.
I'd say more than half. That's as far as I'm willing to go with it. But yeah. Let's see. Anything else I'm missing in the comments? So we kind of talked about some of the things we don't like or we do and don't like. Are there any other courses? You've taken a million continued education courses. Are there any ones that you're like, oh, I'm actually glad I spent the time on doing this? And they're just like, no, they're all stupid. Like, help me out.
I'm literally sitting here because obviously this is the topic and I'm racking my brain. I can't remember one thing from the CrossFit Kids course besides sitting at the bar. I can't remember one thing my level 2 besides them giving me shit for not over cueing a perfect air squat. My level 1 was great. I do remember like a lot from that. But like all the other ones, like weightlifting, like whatever, like USAW was fine. I don't remember anything from them. Nothing. And maybe that's just like, again, I literally do not remember anything.
Are you just like, are you zoning out the whole time you're there and just not giving a shit? Or are you interacting and participating, or what are you doing?
I don't know. I just I don't remember. I did I didn't do CrossFit powerlifting, but I had done a different powerlifting cert. I did a strongman cert at that TPS gym in Malden, which was it was cool, but I don't know. I don't necessarily, I did gymnastics. I don't know. I don't know if maybe I did, absorb more information than I think. And maybe I do use it like when I'm coaching now, but like nothing off the top of my head. And again, for me, it's just like when it's time for the weekend, like I just want to chill. Like I do not want to go sit at a seminar for 8 hours. Like I just don't. That's just me.
Well, these days we wouldn't exactly have time
But
for
like,
that. But yeah,
watch, like I will never go to another seminar the rest of my life. Like I will not. Like I love my CEUs. Like it's just like easy. I like, and honestly, some of the courses that CrossFit like puts out for like CEUs, like I actually take some like stuff away from those, like the nutrition.
okay,
I've done
that's what I'm asking. So
online ones.
which ones?
So the online ones, I've done a bunch of them because I end up starting to scrape CEUs at the end. But like CrossFit has like all like CrossFit Anatomy, Anatomy 1, Anatomy 2, like
Did you take
just
those?
all. Yeah, I did all of those.
Were those helpful?
Yeah, I mean, again, though, for me, those are just, they're easy, they're quick, and they're just like, you can actually take away like little small things from it. And then you're going at your own pace, so you're doing it when like you feel like doing it. But those I have enjoyed more, but like, again, that might just be the type of person I am. Antisocial.
Have you found a good nutrition one that you've done online? You've done a couple, I
We
think.
did Precision Nutrition, and then CrossFit, I believe, has like a nutrition one now too, on like their regular like portal thing. Thought they did.
Okay.
Maybe they don't. Or maybe it's like a basic nutrition thing or something. I don't know if I have not done that. But
okay.
I do
All
like
right.
those.
So if you were going to like have one of your coaches have like 3 experiences or 3 courses or 3 certifications, which ones would you recommend the most? Top 3. I think L1's got to be on that list.
Probably
Yeah,
something
okay. What
nutrition else? And then something that they are interested in as their third kind of specialty thing, whether it's weightlifting or powerlifting or gymnastics. Those would probably be the top 3. Like, I don't think you need to do like I know it doesn't even exist anymore, but like CrossFit kettlebell seems like I don't know, kind of, you know,
unless you just really like that. Like if you're really a big fan of kettlebells.
But I wouldn't go suggest a coach to be like, you got to get your CrossFit kettlebell.
Right.
You know, CrossFit Kids, again, like I did it back when you had to have CrossFit Kids to have a CrossFit Kids program. That's not the rule anymore. So I felt like forced to do it because this was at my first gym. So literally like 10 years ago. I felt forced to like get that. And it was also something like only the affiliate owner needed to have it. And then you were able to like offer it and, you know, call your program CrossFit Kids or whatever, but that's not the rule anymore. So I don't know that I would go suggest somebody to go take that course. I would say, hey, watch 10 CrossFit Kids videos and you'll probably get the gist of it if you already know how to coach. Like it's just different cues that they're offering to like make sense to kids. It's really all it was.
Yeah. And a lot of those things are all on YouTube if you want to go back and look for that stuff. I remember seeing a lot of those cues myself. Gus's wife is doing the precision nutrition course. I think I'm going to take that on soon too. I haven't done that. I've done tons of reading of nutrition stuff over the last decade and a half online, how things have changed. I've just consumed endless amounts of it, but I've never got like an actual certification or certificate. I did take the original CrossFit nutrition course, which was done by Rob Wolf when he was pushing paleo back in the day. I did that. They only had a few of those, and I was one of the lucky ones that got to check that out. That was interesting, worthwhile, but I might take on precision nutrition soon here. Okay, so talked about the L3. Great to have to prove that you have the knowledge, but overall not super important if you can't demonstrate how valuable you are within the gym as far as you go, like demonstrate to you. Other courses, you went over a couple, have your L1, pursue a different like specialty that you might be super interested in and just kind of master that, get a basic grasp on nutrition if that's interesting to you as well. And then last topic today, we got like 10 minutes or so left. What are the best ways that you have, or some things you've implemented to either gain experience yourself coaching, like how have you gained your experience, and what sort of things would you want new staff members or new coaches to do under your guidance in your gyms to continue to get better?
I think what a lot of gyms do is they have new coaches start shadowing, which I think is great, but there's like shadowing and there's like standing there and staring at the ceiling. So we've seen both. I think if you are going into like shadow, or you have like a coach who wants to like shadow, like engaging with them, hey, this is why this is the warm up, you know, whatever, and having them coach portions of it. We've also had coaches who are there to shadow and they're just like walking around and like staring at the ceiling and like talking to like people, which is like, again, that's like great. Thanks for like interacting with members, but like you're not actually trying to like learn anything or pay attention. Because I also think like even if you're not shadowing like specifically, but if you're taking a CrossFit class and actually instead of kind of going through the motions and going through class, but like paying attention to why your coach is doing certain things, you can learn a lot just from that. Obviously, choose the coach that you're following wisely. But like, I could just take a class that like you're coaching, and if I'm actually just okay, like look at the workout. Okay, why is Seth doing this as the warm up? Like, you can take a lot away from that. But I think there's like active shadowing and like lazy shadowing. And
yeah, so I totally agree. And I had this exact experience last night. So we have a newer guy coming into one of our gyms. I went and met with him. He's going to help us out for a while. He hasn't coached before. And so he's like, yeah, I'm going to shadow you tonight. And I was like, no, I actually want you to take class tonight. I said, listen to what I say, watch how I do this, experience it, feel what it feels to be either, coach through this part, have to, what the timing feels like. Do you feel rushed? Do you feel well coached? Do you feel prepared? Like, go through it. And then after, we'll debrief the class and I'll tell you everything I did and why and what I was thinking when I did that. So that's what we did. And we sat and talked for like 20 minutes about class after. He's like, oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we do that. So I would always start with coaches. Well, typically we would bring coaches in who have already been members. So that happens a lot of times, but not always. And so if people are coming in that aren't members of our stuff before, I would make them be members to an extent. They have to take class and experience our flow, our style, the way we coach things, our expectations, and just experience that under some of our best coaches for a while. And then the outside of classes, and you're not participating in class, shadowing is a little more easier because now I can start to talk through the workout with you ahead of time, explain my whiteboard briefing, explain why I'm doing the things I'm doing in the warm-up, and then continue to progress them that way. So I like that they actually start in class, make them take it and experience it, and then take them out and break it down further from them once they have that solid experience.
We've also done that a lot. If we have like 2 back-to-back classes, like one evening or whatever, you'd have them take the first class and then maybe like coach the warm-up of the second class or something like along those lines, just to get them kind of like dabbled, and then they, see it and feel it first, and then they can kind of make their own decisions the second time.
Yeah. And then as far as like I know we don't have one process because we have 5 gyms and the gyms are unique in their own way. So we don't have like one set of rules that every coach has to follow to like gain our trust and experience and then start coaching. We do different things, but like other than shadowing, what kind of stuff do you like to sort of implement on the coaches? Would you prefer them do any, I'm asking you, even though I already know half the answers to this, but like, are you going to make them read anything? Are you going to make them watch any certain videos? Are there certain things you want them to have down pat before they ever do their first class? Like what sort of stuff would be like your barrier to entry before you kind of like let the leash off and let them go at it?
I mean, that's obviously a very tricky question because like what we want them to do versus what's realistic are very different. So
explain.
Like, the majority of our coaches and probably the majority of CrossFit coaches around the world are not like full-time, and they have other jobs and families and responsibilities. Stop telling them to watch videos and read books. They're not going to like they're just not. And you can't really expect
small clips, short clips,
very short clips, 30 seconds. But you can't really expect them to go watch and read this and do this. Like, they come to coach, maybe they're getting 20, 25 bucks, which is great. They want to be a part of the community, which is great. You're going to give them homework to do. Like, they're not going to do it. So your question is like, what would I want them to do? Obviously, I would love them to like watch a video of every movement before they coach, to just pick up little cues and whatever. And obviously read up on whatever's going on. And like, but you can't ask a part-time or a very part-time coach to now go do 3 hours of homework a week. It's just unlikely.
Yeah, unless this is like the start of something they're transitioning to. Like we have had coaches who are like, we bring them in and it becomes their obsession, and then they're like, okay, give me all the content and stuff that you can to help me produce, like just go faster. And we have had some, but yeah, you're right. Some are like full-time working people. They're members of the gym. They're like, hey, I'd love to coach like 1 day a week or whatever. And it's like, okay, let's yeah, there's very different scales on that. And like in terms of like getting people ready to coach on their own, how do you feel about having the new lesson plans? I know you have past experience with lesson plans, and it's not something the way I would call it is like, I force our coaches, I talk them through like mental lesson plans. I don't force anybody who has experience to write down every detail of what they're going to do in our classes. I talk to them about how they can prepare ahead of time, make their plan for their warm-up, how that warm-up should transition them into the first piece or the only piece of the day, how you mix skills into the warm-up, things like that. So they have a mental plan when they're going in. But how do you feel about when people being forced, especially newer coaches, to write out detailed lesson plans?
forced. I don't think it's necessary. Again, that kind of falls into the same thing as like the ability to take a test. Like just because you can write down an epic lesson plan doesn't mean that you can speak it or see movement, which is like the most important thing, you know? So I don't know, if you're like kind of visual like that and you want to like map it out for yourself, like, okay, great. But like, I don't think that's necessary at all. Again, I started by having to do lesson plans and like, it didn't help in the sense of, again, you stand up in front of a group of 40 people. Like, can you now, in the gym I worked at was classes of 40 people. My first gym I coached at, like you can't, yeah, 2 classes going at the same time, mind you, of like 30 to 40 people, crazy. So yeah, my piece of paper that I wrote 20 minutes ago is not helping me in that situation. Like it's so overwhelming. It's so loud, because like the classes ran every 30 minutes. So like you're running on the hour here and just on the other side of the rig, it was every 30 minutes. So it was just mayhem in there. But yeah, what does that piece of paper do for me? Like nothing. So
boy, that's a great way to gain some very useful experience quickly, having to deal with like the chaos of that. Yeah. If it's too easy, then you're not challenged. You don't have to do much. But so yeah, you were challenged early. Shoot, I had a point in that.
Well, you know what? Sometimes too, what we'll do is if we have a coach who's like tomorrow's their very first day coaching by themselves, Seth will like text out like, hey, here's like a warm-up idea. Here's like the progression that we would use. Like just read through it, like a quick text just to kind of be like, here's what I would do for the workout and like whatever. And then our class programming has like the little minutes to give coaches kind of an idea of how much time they should spend on their warm-up, then like a little setup break, and then how much time the Metcon is going to take, little setup break, and then usually how much time the strength is going to take. So, but we've done that a bunch where we'll like text people like our, like, you know, for like maybe their first 4 or 5 days coaching, just to like give them just like a little bit of a template. But that's only for like brand new coaches. Most of the time we don't do that.
Yeah. And you made me think of something about lesson plans too. So like, even with my experience coaching since 2008, 2009, like regularly, I could write out a detailed lesson plan the way I wanted it, like to the minute. I feel pretty confident I could make a ridiculously thorough lesson plan. But
and someone has to go to the bathroom.
Well, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, you're absolutely right. But even if I executed it exactly the way I wanted it, by the time I'm done the first time, let's say I'm coaching 3 classes that morning, I'm like, oh, you know what, this should have gone like this, would have been better if I had done it like this. And then I'm going to change it anyway. And then I'm going to change it again the 3rd class. So every time I do stuff, I'm learning as I go, and I'm making adjustments in real time, either in that class because it's not working, or for the next class, I'll make that adjustment right away. And I think that's the most valuable thing, is like realizing you can make those adjustments on the fly and being like, taking the liberty to do what you think is best for it. And then once you have to do that enough, you're forced through that situation. It becomes easier just to coach a class and kind of make it run smoothly. But if you're following something to a T, like one coach writes your lesson plan and all the coaches have to follow that lesson plan, inevitably you're going to get a very, in my opinion, stale class, not super well executed by half your staff. Personality might not be baked in because they're really kind of focusing on following a template as opposed to putting themselves out there a bit more. So yeah, I think freedom for coaches is real important.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I'm against the robotic coaching big time. Hate that.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot for sure. It's I'd rather have a less than perfect class and have that coach learn something and take something away from it and realize it wasn't perfect and fix it. And the members are still
script.
Instead of reading the script. Members are still going to exercise. Members are still going to get their workouts in. Like, you're not going to rob anybody from a coach not being 100% perfect. You're going to allow them to kind of grow into your system. But man, 28 and a half minutes. You got 90 seconds until we have to wrap up. Any final thoughts on either the L3, other certifications or courses, or coaching experience? We did good today.
Wrap up is level 3 is cool if you want to get it, but I don't think it's necessary or defines you as a better coach than somebody with their level 1. That's that.
That's your entire wrap up.
Yeah. I think level 3 thing like kind of like triggers me. And we've had some situations with like different coaches who are like, oh, I want my like level 3. What's my pay go to? And I'm just like, nothing. Like,
yeah. Did you check the bathroom trash this morning? Yeah. No.
You
didn't?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, did you come in for the community event? Oh, you didn't come in for the community event? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So your level 3 does not contribute to like the business, the members, nothing. Like, again, cool for you to get it. Like, cool for you to, you're continuing ed, like whatever, like that's great, but like does not put you above anybody with a lower cert.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. Guys, thanks for popping in. We had quite a few guys. Thanks for the questions. Again, we're going to keep trying to do these as often as we can, keep them short and sweet. If you ever have suggestions for topics, we have a couple that we've had in the comments in the past. Keep dropping suggestions for new shows in the comments, and we will keep doing these. And see you guys all soon.